Alright, so a couple weeks have come and gone now, and everyone who's going to watch Jessica Jones I think has had a chance, which means it's time for another customary post-comic book movie/TV show, in this case Easter egg hunt. And for Marvel Netflix's Jessica Jones, we have some doozies, so let's not wait another second. First things first, we have the killer opening, underlaid by some awesome noir horns. The art style here just so happens to be very reminiscent of the stuff from the Alias comic. And while we're on the subject of the comic, very early in that comic, Jess put a guy through a glass window, just like she does in the very first episode of the show. No need to feel too bad for that guy, he was being a D-bag in both versions. Moving on, we have Jerry Hogarth, a slimy big city power lawyer and frequent employer of Alias investigations. But did you know in the comics, not only was Jerry a man, but also a close friend of Wendell Rand, aka father of Danny Rand, the Iron Fist. Could this mean we're going to see Jerry show up in the Iron Fist show? I certainly hope so. Patricia, Trish, Patsy Walker is also in the show. She's Jess's best friend and adopted sister, and she's also a walking, talking Easter egg in her own right. You see, in the comics, Patsy is known as the hero Hellcat, but Patsy was not in the original Alias comic. Here she's more or less taking the place of Carol Danvers, aka Miss Marvel at the time, who will be getting her own movie very soon. In this show, she's a former child star turned talk show host. This is a fun joke because Patsy got her start in the comics as the star of a cheesy teen romantic comedy series and was only later integrated into becoming a Marvel superhero. Heck, as we can see in the show, there was actually a Patsy comic in that universe. They even go as far to joke about how she used to have red hair but changed it. Wow, that is some crazy attention to detail. Heck, even Patsy's mom, Dorothy, is a comic character, maybe not as evil as she's shown here in the series. Well, you know, except for that one time she tried to sell her soul to demons for eternal life, but hey, who's perfect now, right? Now, Jessica Jones' main villain, Kilgrave, aka Zedediah Kilgrave, aka the Purple Man, is a very interesting figure. For one, they change his origin from being a Croatian spy exposed to chemicals to instead being British and being the end result of experimentation on children. Why, he even gets a new name in this show, Kilgrave kind of being a child's approximation of what a cool supervillain name would be. Now, experiments on children is nothing new in the Marvel Universe. Perhaps this could be a reference to Cloak and Dagger, maybe even Spider-Woman? Granted, he never does go full-on purple skin for the show, but I mean, hey, let's look at it this way. Every other inch of the show is draped in the color purple, so it's hard for me to complain. Kilgrave's power is the ability to control people's minds and make them do whatever he wants them to do. He uses these powers on Jessica and keeps her hostage for quite some time. Now, in the comic, they were a little bit more subtle about the horrible things that he subjected her to. In the show, they're a lot more straightforward about it. Another use of Kilgrave's powers is when he tells a story about when he literally told a man to go screw himself. This is very similar to a story told in the pages of Preacher. Luke Cage, one of the coolest things about this show, and yet another guy who will be getting his own Netflix series down the line. When we first see Luke, not only is he wearing a yellowish shirt, much like his comic counterpart, but twice throughout the series he treats us to his classic catchphrase of "Sweet Christmas." Even his wife in the comics is accurate. Of course, they change around her death to make it more impactful on Jessica. I mean, it is her show after all. Why, they even go as far as to joke about Jess wanting to have Luke's babies. Funny, because that's totally what ends up happening in the comics. Perhaps one of my favorite Easter eggs from this new show is Detective Oscar Clemens. This guy is a fairly new character from a 2012 Punisher run. What's crazy about this guy is he's supposed to be based off Morgan Freeman's character in Seven. Maybe we'll see his Brad Pitt-looking partner show up in a Punisher show if they ever make one. Further fun fact, the fetus everyone is chasing after in the second part of the Jessica Jones show is taken from a place called Hammond Labs, the very same place wherein the character Speedball was given his powers. Speedball you may remember as being an important figure in the Civil War storyline, but who we will not be seeing in the new Civil War movie. The Jewel costume makes an appearance in Jessica Jones, Jewel of course being the name that Jess took during her short-lived time as a superhero. The show moves events around a little bit to where she never really got a chance to use the costume. Also, Patsy wears a bluish mask, not unlike the Hellcat mask. Now, it just wouldn't be a Marvel show if we didn't get a mention of the New York incident and the alien attack from the Avengers movie. They go into even greater detail in Jessica Jones by saying that people with superpowers are becoming so commonplace, even the people working at hospitals know what to look for. Speaking of hospitals, everyone's favorite night nurse, Claire Temple, shows up up near the tail end of the series to offer a helping, healing hand to Luke. So far, she's probably the biggest piece of connective tissue we've seen so far between all the new Netflix shows. When someone asks Jess to recommend another good PI, she drops the name Angela Del Toro, in the comics better known as White Tiger. In fact, she's the second White Tiger who took up the mantle from her uncle in one of my all-time favorite Daredevil stories, written by Alias creator Brian Michael Bendis. Oh, how it all connects. Stan Lee makes a cameo in Jessica Jones. Well, to be fair, it's the same cameo he made from Daredevil when he shows up dressed as a cop in a picture. More goodies found around the police station include news clippings from Ben Urich. Further Daredevil connections come in the form of the Big Weed Storehouse. Turns out it's the very same warehouse Daredevil broke up Madame Gao's heroin operation. Well, they really gotta stop renting this place out, or at least start doing better background checks. One of the more unexpected additions to Jessica Jones' cast was Will Simpson. Comic fans will know him better as Frank Simpson, aka the Daredevil villain Nuke. Just like in the comics, Will was a soldier given color-coded pills to make him a more effective killing machine, before eventually driving him crazy enough to tattoo a flag onto his face. Heck, the dialogue from that show is pretty much ripped directly from the comics. Now, in the comics, the group giving Nuke his pills was the Weapon Plus program, but Marvel Studios can't use them because they're tied up in X-Men. Instead, they're called IGH. Now, MGH, or Mutant Growth Hormone, was another Bendis-era addition. Perhaps IGH stands for Inhuman Growth Hormone, and it might be a fun little in-joke for the hardcore fans. And while we're on the subject of in-jokes, in episode 6, Jessica mentions Carl Icahn, a billionaire who just so happened and ultimately failed to try and take over Marvel before Disney did in 2010. Icahn also just so happened to own a pretty big stake in Netflix as well until he sold his shares. Now, it's no secret Jess is a bit of a drinker, and her poison of choice is Wild Fowl, a reference to the real-world wild turkey, but the same brand also just so happened to appear in Punisher 2004. Wow, wrap your head around that one. And lastly, on our hunt for Easter eggs, in-jokes, and references, we have the boat Kilgrave attempts to escape on. It's called the Goldfish. Goldfish was also the name of Alias writer Brian Michael Bendis' first major crime graphic novel. And that will just about do it for me and another Easter egg hunt. I hope you all liked the video. In the comments section down below, be sure to sound off and tell me what you think. What was your favorite Easter egg? Did I miss any? Until next time, everyone, I will see you around. Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching my newest video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you'll feel like checking out some more videos I have on offer here at Cape Joel.